What's going on YouTube? ManCave here. It's been a while since I've been out on the trails, and as you can see, my studio is a freaking mess right now. Got the King hauler back there, the night hauler, the ultimate scale truck, which I'm probably gonna end up selling, and of course the wall over there. You guys all know it's hanging over there. This video, however, is going to be a little different. I'm going to spin the camera around and adjust it, of course. Because right now all you guys can see is my awesome shirt. This requires a lot of precise movements. What we're going to do this time, there you go, we get the camera staring straight at me. Ooh, watch out. This has been a multiple viewer requested video. Kind of like a Q&A, I'd say. There's a lot of questions that have been asked that I don't really want to leave in the comments section, because it's something I feel I'd rather make a video for all you guys to watch and hopefully answer a lot of your questions. And I haven't written them down or anything. I've got all of them in my head. So, the first question right off the bat that I get asked is, what was my very first RC? Now, there's two different answers to that one. Because my very first RC was one of those little cheap-ass $50 huge monster trucks about the size of the Summit that you get from Toys R Us for Christmas. Everybody wanted one, thought they were cool. I had about 3 or 4 of those. We used to smash them all the time. But my very first hobby grade RC was a Traxxas T-Max 25R Nitro. And nothing against Traxxas, because they do make killer products, but the T-Max I had was a piece of junk. It was the old obsolete version, and it originally didn't have the 2.5R motor on it. It had just the plain 2.5 with the regular aluminum cooling fin on it, not the blue head. And I think I went through 3 motors on it. The Traxxas had to rebuild. And the last time they rebuilt it, well, actually the original motor that came in it, whoever assembled it from Traxxas put the piston in backwards, which I don't know how the hell you do that on a nitro motor. Or how you do that on a regular motor. How do you put a piston in backwards? They only go in one way. But my very first RC was a T-Max 2.5, which I had later changed over to 2.5R and eliminated all the problems. The easy start was not easy. But my first electric RC was an Axial AX10 Scorpion. You guys may remember a few channels back, I had an old Dodge Ram Charger body with a CGR cage on it. That was my very first crawler, very first hobby grade electric RC that I had. You guys have seen that through the years, my addiction has grown massively from the the pair of Wraiths I have, the 3 or 4 SCXs that I have, the R1, the 2 TT01Es, the 2 CR01s, the 2 HPI Sprints, the 2 of everything basically except for the high lift, which I did have 2 of at one time. I had the F350, and of course I've got the Tundra. That answers that one. The next question that I've been asked is, what is my favorite tire? Well, I've got quite a few of them. Number 1, this is a 2.2 RC 4-wheel drive Mudslinger. Very awesome tire when you want to get down in the crap and sling it. This, I'm going to show you guys here because it's part of an assembly I've got. As you know, this is the front or rear, doesn't matter, section of Copperhead, which has been repainted because it's going to get rebuilt. I've got Rogue Element hubs in there, but this tire right here, the 2.2 Interco TSL Super Swamper, this has become one of my all-time favorite tires due to its grip on all surfaces. Let's see, my other favorite tire would have to be, I'm going to have to grab it to show you, so this is the JK Gone Wild. I've chopped it and added a bunch of rust to it, but the tire here is a RC 4-wheel drive 2.2 Interco TSL Bogger with the lugs cut out. You've seen it on Copperhead. It's great for trailing and everything, not so great for crawling, which is why I've switched. And then somebody turned me on to these tires. These are Pitbull Rock Beasts. These are actually really good freaking tires if you can get a bead lock to actually lock them down. These are a very good tire. They're very cheap because they come with no foams or nothing, but they're an outstanding tire as far as crawling goes. Radio systems, that's another big one. Everybody knows I run the Spectrum DX3C. I know a lot of people run the DX3R. That's good and everything, but I like my simple DX3C. I've got the 20 model memory to it. Of course, you've got your third channel for doing whatever, your auxiliary, which is used on the semis for shifting gears, on the high lift Tundra for shifting gears. We can scroll through the models here. We're going to go down here, and I'm doing this through the viewfinder, so we got the Tundra, we got the F350, we have the Subaru, which is one of the TT01Es, we got the XO, which that's for sale. We have the SCXRR10, aka the brushless one, which I just showed you is the Outlaw JK. We have my CR01, which was the recovery Ram. The Dingo, which is still around, the Dingo is actually the green Claude body. We've got the Wraith, because Copperhead wouldn't fit in. We've got the first semi, which is the King Hauler. The R1 buggy. We have the Night Hauler. And then on up to the rest, you can still program them. So that's the radio system I use. And paired with that radio is the Spectrum SR300 Sport DSM Sport Surface Receiver. Absolutely love those. Now, the next biggest question I get asked also is, what is my favorite battery? Now, you guys know that I'm not running lipos yet, but when it comes to batteries, Venom is my choice of battery. Number one, give you guys the wrong end, the universal plug system. Since this battery is brand new, never been used, all Venom batteries come with this end connector on it. But what's awesome, you get this little bag here full of connectors. You've got your EC3 connector right here. You have your standard Tamiya connector. You have a Dean's Ultra connector. And actually they give you, this is odd, this is the first time I've ever gotten one that didn't have it. I've got two Tamiya connectors and one doesn't even have the plugs in it. But as far as durability and all that goes, you can't beat Venom on a battery. I absolutely love those. So, table's already a mess. What the hell? Let's just make it even more messy. A favorite motor? That's another question I get asked too. I actually have a few favorites. I'm going to grab a couple of those. I really should have prepared for this, but it's the way I roll. Unscripted. I'm going to grab a couple of my favorite motors right here real quick. Number one, I love the Fireball Modifieds. unfortunately, it is really hard to find these in a lower turn. I can get the 50s and the 60s all day long, but getting like a 35, very hard to do other than eBay. My next favorite motor would have to be a Novak. Doesn't matter. This one is a Terraclaw, but I absolutely loved the what was it? The 55 series. That was a beautiful motor. Then of course there's the Rockstar. Rockstar is a very awesome motor itself too. And as far as the Terraclaws go, this is an SCX chassis with, you guys should recognize this dual motor setup. This is the Level 3 Racing dual motor mount setup for the Wraith or whatever. I had it in the Wraith, taking it out in favor of a single motor for the Wraith. I'm going to run the dual motor on an SCX-10. Don't know what I'm going to do yet with this. It's still a wiring nightmare. I've got the M2 dual dig ESC right there. This one is messed up right now. It only has forward. It doesn't have reverse. So probably just going to get a new M2. But this one right here, actually, this chassis itself is the beautiful pairing to this body right here, which I bought this SCX-10 off of a fellow RC Sparks member, RC Crawler member, and fellow YouTuber, Mad Dog Madigan. I bought that SCX off of him, and it's a beautiful truck. It's just going to undergo some changes, as I always do. I have to put my take on things. The question I think I get asked the most is, what should you buy for an entry-level RC? What's better, an SCX-10, a Wraith, an AX-10, a Ridgecrest, a CR01, an R1? There's so many choices out there, or even a Losi Nightcrawler. There are so many choices out there on the market, and it basically comes down to personal preference. If you want a great scaler, right out of the box, ready to run, you're going to want to probably buy an SCX-10, because you know that with Axial you get a blank canvas and you can build it whatever way you want to. Or you can go the extreme custom route like I did and end up with something like this. This is a Trail Finder chassis with a, I don't know if you guys can see it down in there, but they're right back here somewhere is a killer transfer case, and then an RC four-wheel drive disruptor planetary gear reduction unit with a Venom 55 modified firebolt, the Venom VSC 240 ESC, Spectrum receiver, of course a Venom battery. I've got the 1.55 RC four-wheel drive Steely wheels with 155 RC four-wheel drive Super Swamper IROX. And of course I've got the ultimate 110 dual piggyback shocks. As you can see, I was trying to do some sort of crazy 4-link mount with the shocks. But it also has T-Rex 60 axles on it. I've got the metal steering conversion for the front on it, and I also sprung for the ARB diff covers, which look really nice on there. But I don't think that one's going to be staying around. But like I said, it all comes down to personal preference. The SCX-10 is about the easiest to modify due to the flood of aftermarket parts for it. Second to that would have to be, to me, a CR01. They're a lot of fun, but they're a kit, so that throws the RTR out of the equation. You can get an HPI Crawler King, which that's the one crawler that I have not gotten yet, is the HPI Crawler King. So basically the answer to that question is, there really is no answer. It's up to you. It's whatever you want your general outcome to be, you base it off of a certain vehicle. If you want something that's going to have flexibility, to where you can trail it and you can crawl at the same time. You can't go wrong with an axial. If you want something that's ultimate scale, you want to go with either RC 4-wheel drive or Tamiya, which, speaking of Tamiya, this one's heavy. You guys haven't seen much of the Tundra lately. It had a little bit of fun not too long ago, and here's a prime example of those Pitbull rock beasts. These are on my high lift Tundra that also has the Jungfat metal 4-link kit and the servo over axle relocation kit. This is hands down just about my favorite truck. It's a very complex truck, but at the same time it is a lot of fun to run. I guess also on the list for really fun vehicles would be the R1. Now a lot of people have asked me about this R1 buggy. As you can see, it's got decent flex. I'm sure with upgraded shocks, you can get even more flex out of it. This just has the G transitions. I've went ahead and mounted axial Rockster rims with HPI rock grabbers mounted backwards, of course. Off-brand, eBay servo, $25, 208 ounces of torque. Portal axles give you awesome clearance. I've got a modified 55 turn in this and another VSC 240. I've got the Jungfat carbon steel axles on it. It's a very light rig. It performs quite well. But as you guys remember from the video, when I did the special with it, the battery in the back kills you. Now, here is a prime example of a truck that needed very little modification done to it and is extremely capable. This is my son's SDX10 with the 07 Chevy Silverado extended cab body on it. He's running the same radio and receiver I run, the DX3C and the SR300. He has a high-tech, and I don't know how the hell his is still surviving. Every high-tech servo I get ends up in the damn toilet. He's still running an HS645, a 5000 milliamp Venom battery. He's running the Venom VSC 240 amp ESC. He's got just a regular. This doesn't have any hardened steel gears in it, folks. This is just the stock axial transmission paired up with a Fireball 55 turn motor. And this is the truck that I did the simple lift kit on. I don't know if you guys can see, but right down here, these are just servo screws, or servo mounts. And you just take and relocate your shock to the bottom of the servo mount. And he's also running, I changed it out because I got tired of him kicking my ass on the trails. These are the G-made tires and wheels that come with the R1 buggy kit. And as you can tell by the rock moss on the back axle there, this thing has seen a lot of use and abuse. He's sunk this thing about more times than I can count, and it still works, minus the few fixes. The only one I'm not really impressed with is the EXO. For some reason, it's not working for me. Number one, there's too many revisions, which is why this one is for sale. There's nothing wrong with it. It's got an HPI Sprint 2 Flux motor and ESC. So you got the Castle Creations Flux Motor VSC and a Warp 5700 kilovolt motor. Traxxas 2075 servo in it. And of course 4-wheel drive with shafts. It is a fun truck to drive. It's just I don't have the space for this, and I'm not that kind of a driver. So this thing is for sale as well. Alright, let's get back into more questions, seeing how this is going to be a really long video. What got me into RC? That's about one of the best questions that's ever been asked to me, and the one I kind of just never really answer. What really got me into RC, to be honest, is once I got my AX10, Yeah, it was cool crawling around on the rocks and everything, but I wanted to take it to the next level. So before I bought my first RC, I was just watching YouTube, clicking in RC truck, RC crawler, and all this. And when I typed in crawler, I saw DJ Medic. We all know who that is. I saw his as the very first result with the Black Tundra, the Tundra Rising, and the Tundra in the mud. And when I saw that thing going through that deep water and that nasty Canadian mud, I knew right then and there that that's where I wanted to be. So, honestly, the sole person I have to thank for getting me about $20,000-$30,000 into my addiction would be DJ Medic 2008. But that's all right, bro, man. You've opened a lot of doors for me. You've helped me through a lot of problems I've had. You started an awesome forum and community. So, dude, you're one of the coolest guys I know, especially with the Mepic Nation channel. I'll never forget the Xbox versus PS3 debate. That was the best answer I've ever heard to that, and it was the most truthful answer. But that's a whole other story. So that's what got me into RC. My filming equipment, what do I use to film? Well, right now I have 2 cameras. The camera I'm using right now is a JVC Averio S, I believe. Let me see. Nope, it's just a regular JVC Averio with a one-touch upload to YouTube. Because when I first started out, I bought a camera that had the one-touch upload back when you could only upload 10-minute videos. So I bought that camera, and I also have a GoPro HD Hero Motorsports Edition, which you guys have seen in action inside of Copperhead for the 100th video special. You've seen it on the back of the black F650. You've seen that on quite a few videos, actually. It's a shame I haven't used that camera more, which I'm going to start doing that a lot more frequently. As far as editing software, there's 2 that I use, which I know most people are like, well, it's a garbage setup. I started with Pinnacle Studios version 15, and then recently upgraded to Avid Studios. So those are the 2 editing programs that I use to make my videos. Let's see, go down the list of more questions. The jack stands and the jacks. I've gotten a lot of questions about these too. These are the Big Red Touring miniature jack stands. They're on eBay, but you usually only find them in pairs, and they're like $60 a pair. I bought these from a hobby shop in Germany, and I bought 8 jack stands and 2 of the floor jacks themselves. Now, granted, this floor jack is grossly overscaled to a vehicle, but that's okay because it still does the purpose. It works. It's awesome. The other biggest question I always get asked is, do I use polycarbonate paint? The answer, no, I do not. I've never used Lexan or polycarbonate paint, ever. Everything has always been Duplicolor, exact match for a car, or engine enamel. I've even used VHT, which stands for very hot temperature. Copperhead was painted with that color, believe it or not. Copperhead and what else did I do that was gold? I don't remember. But no, I've used engine enamels for everything except for the Tundra and the F350. This was actually shot with the Rust-Oleum camouflage paint, and then I just took Rust-Oleum hammered finish to give the rusty look to it, like it was rusting out, like it's been sitting there for a million years. Trying to think, let's see what some of the other questions were besides that. Obviously the nitro over electric. My answer, nitro is great and everything, but you've got to have a very large area to run it. It's a lot more expensive than electric is, and there's a lot more maintenance to them. So obviously I favor electrics over nitro. As far as chargers go, I have a... This is just one of my chargers. I have to pick you up. I've got a Venom Sport Charge. This thing is awesome. It'll charge a fully drained 5,000 milliamp battery in about 45 minutes. My other charger I have, flip you guys around again, is a Traxxas Easy Peak Plus. Now this one does have the LiPo balance board, so there's a hint. I'm going to be doing LiPo batteries soon. What I first started using was this old Dynamite Prophet Plus charger. This thing has seen me through since the beginning. Yes, that sounds awesome. It's kind of a piece of history there. So, hopefully that answered a lot of you guys' questions. If you guys have any more, feel free to drop them down in the comments below, and I'll get around to making another question and answer video. But until then, I think I'm going to wrap it up, because I'm looking at the viewfinder right now and it's saying I'm right at 26.5 minutes, which is a hell of a long time for you guys to be sitting and just listening to me talk. Look forward to a lot more trailing. I know I've got a few buddies of mine that are going to be coming up. We're going to be probably the first time actually being on, I don't want to say it, really a major channel, but well, they'll get a lot of promotion from it being on it. Oh, one other question before I end this. It deals with monetization of videos. At first I was against it, but then I realized, okay, if I'm doing something that I love and I have the opportunity to get paid for it, I'm an idiot if I don't take that chance. Now granted, yes, you guys do have to put up with those annoying ads, but those annoying ads do help in the long run. They help support all this that's going on around here. They support the ManCave Studios. That, and of course my sponsorship with Venom. I know you guys, I've seen a few comments about how I never talk about my sponsorship with Venom. Well, I've addressed this in a previous video. I don't want to cram products down somebody's throat and then have some person say, oh, well, I bought one of these and it totally sucked, and then just give them a bad name for it. Basically, you guys have known me for my style of building to be, I'm going to build it so where I can throw it off, or throw it out of a moving car, and aside from the body being all messed up and scratched, I can still flick that ESC on and drive it. So it goes through a ruthless, all of my vehicles go through a ruthless break-in period. So if something's going to break on it, it's going to happen that very first run. Which is why I went with Venom for the electronics, and I'm very excited to see what's coming out this year. We've got the Ridgecrest coming out. We've got, of course, now the hottest thing on the market right now, the Trailfinder 2. I'd love to get my hands on one of those, but they're sold out. I should have jumped on it earlier, but lesson learned. The monetization, that was just done. Like, oh, that's cool. I can actually make a little bit of money off of my videos. And now my goal is to become a YouTube partner. And I've got, I think the last time I checked, it was 316 subscribers, and I was coming close to 100,000 video views. And I wouldn't be where I'm at today if it wasn't for every single one of my 316 subscribers. Because I've got to say that out of a lot of the channels I've seen, I've got some of the most loyal followers on YouTube. And I really, really appreciate that, guys. Knowing that I have a very, very tight-knit group of people that like watching my videos, like seeing what I'm doing, and enjoy watching me trail and screw up and occasionally drop the F-bomb, which, surprisingly, that's not falling out tonight. I really, really, really want to thank you guys for giving me the motivation to keep going and going and going and just progressing forward in my my passion. And it's just great that there's so many of you that are out there that feel exactly the same way I do. We're so close together that we all think alike, or you guys can pick out something, say on this truck, you see something, oh well, you can get this and make it, it'll do this to that, and it'll change the geometry of the suspension, give you more flex. That's freaking awesome. And I turned the ESC on, so we know the ultimate truck runs. It's just it's not nice to start ghost running. But once again, if it wasn't for my subscribers, I probably would not have done half the videos I've done, and I wouldn't be half as far as I am. I feel that I have accomplished a lot so far in the past 4 years. Granted, not all of it was, well, a lot of it was videotaped and it was filmed. And my dogs obviously hear something outside. Go figure. Granted, a lot of it was filmed and my original channel got hacked. I think over 3 years of random filming got erased just because some asshole didn't like me. That's actually got my suspicions raised a little bit, guys, so hope you guys enjoyed the video and my dogs. Like I said, leave your comments down the bottom. If I didn't address a question, I'll be glad to answer it for you. And let's hear it for 200 videos. All right, later, guys.